Yeah, do you remember that I said I was gonna start my color intake writing habits? Is that trick?
Yeah, I remember. How is it going?
I stopped after 1 week.
Oh no. You do you mean you lost your streak?
Yes, I lost my streak again.
On the topic of streaks, I think I lost my Duolingo streak yesterday.
It always happens.
Wait, no, 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 no. Wait. How many
Uh,
days?
yeah, not more than a week, but yeah, still it
That's
was
again. That's
still
still.
it was a streak, right?
No.
Yes.
If it's a week, it's not a streak.
A streak is streak, even if it's 2 days.
Yeah, like just because of that, I kind of stopped using Duolingo.
Same. I
Because I always felt like I was losing it.
Oh, really? Please tell more.
Yeah, like the general promise of trying to keep it every day and have like 10 minutes for the language app was really challenging for me. I don't know if you guys had any problems because at that point it kind of turned into, oh, I need to do this while I'm on a, I don't know, subway or while I'm in the bathroom. Like it was never really intentional language learning, but something to do before I go to bed.
mm,
And that's the thing, like I'm not even sure if these apps overall work for language learning.
I find myself downloading Duolingo every a few months, like 3 to 4 months, and I do it for 1 week and I delete it again because when I download it, it's easy. I can do it, no problem. But if I try to speak, I don't understand. If I try to read something, I don't understand. And um, and this is on top of me studying Italian on my own time without Duolingo. I bought some grammar books and I took a few classes at university.
So you're trying to learn Italian. That's the chosen
Yes,
language.
yes.
Why do you want to learn Italian?
Chosen
What's
language.
your motivation?
Let's dive into your childhood. Why Italian?
Well, at the time I was thinking maybe I would study abroad. Um, and Italy is popular amongst design community, I guess.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How about others? Like,
Let me first say that I completely agree with Izal. Italy is one of the best countries in Europe. I am sorry, other countries.
That's not what she
But
said.
like, no, Izal is completely right. I personally try not to distinguish between countries. I try to see all countries as equal, even Slovenia. But Izal says Italy is the best, and I kind of see where she comes from in that regard.
From Turkey.
Uh-huh.
But seriously though, similar to Izal, I also tried to learn Italian using Duolingo. And I have also tried learning few other languages. And even though using Duolingo did not result in me being fluent in those languages that I tried to learn, I don't think I can dismiss it as useless. Because, unlike Izal, I did not have any formal education in any of those languages, and I can, in general, get when I look at a sentence, first of all, I can understand that it is in one of the languages I try to learn.
Mhm.
And then I can generally understand where is the verb and where is the noun and where is that, like, what's happening, what's the tense happening here.
What's the vibe here?
Yeah, but like that's in real life, you aren't reading scientific papers in Romanian. Vibe is usually enough, and Duolingo can give you the cues to understand the vibe in a language, which is, I think, quite important.
I have to say something. Duolingo was not completely useless. Like, I skipped the first course of Italian because I was doing Duolingo and I was also looking at the grammar book while doing the Duolingo. I was able to
Mm-hmm,
skip
mm-hmm.
one course. Maybe if I studied harder, I could have skipped two.
It's a nice achievement, I guess.
But you think it's your fault. Like that's the thing I always kind of come to my mind too. Like maybe if I studied harder, maybe if I
Hmm.
did something more. But then I feel like maybe these apps are promising too much.
Yeah, they are.
Well, all apps are promising too much. That's called marketing.
I don't think Duolingo offers that, like, they are promising that much. I think like, I don't think that they are offering or uh, suggesting that you are gonna learn a language completely. But at least, like, it's most of the ads, I guess. Like,
I am pretty sure
there
they
is a good
do.
start. I think those apps, I mean, for Duolingo perspective, I think we should take it as a good start point, that you get familiarized with a language, like Can Deniz says. And also, it kind of creates a constant exposure, I guess, with those streak. And you don't, like, if you start to learn a language, you tend to forget it. From my perspective, like, I try to learn many diverse languages, at least start to learn them. But the ones I tried to continue with Duolingo had the most success and remembering them. So from my perspective, if I were continuing doing Duolingo, I think I won't forget some of the phrases at least.
And it's like, no, I agree with you that it's like a good tool and companion, but I have to push back on they're not promising that much part because, like, literally, I'm on Duolingo's website right now, and the subtitle is "The World's Best Way to Learn a Language."
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
feel like that's a bit of an oversell here.
I agree that other ways are worse.
No, I disagree. But
No.
I agree with Janice in that it's a very useful tool to, like, vibe check the language, literally. Because what Duolingo offers is, as far as my experience, which is very limited, like, I don't think I had any, like, long streaks on it. I don't think I have used it, like, over a month in my whole life. Because I used it, like, twice.
Mm-hmm.
One
Hmm.
once before when it, like, first, like, becoming popular, and, like, once I think once I think when lockdown happened, because I am pretty sure
Class.
everyone had a lockdown
This
Duolingo
is the time.
adventure. But, like, from what I can say, it's very much like Duolingo's, the way it teaches you is very much not in a lecture or, like, structured complete way, but it's more like flashcards or, like, stuff you see, like popular phrases, etc. Like, the way not like the way you would not the way you would learn a language like a native speaker, but more like a
Hmm.
tourist that's visiting. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think it's a useful tool, and I think it's very good for vibes, but I don't think by itself it's actually the best.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think it's a good way to learn a language, let alone best way to learn a language. And I think they're definitely over promising on things. Though I would also say the stuff Duolingo promotes and promises definitely has changed over the years, because while I have very limited direct interaction with Duolingo, this app has not left my cultural osmosis, like, around me for years.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know so much about Duolingo against my will. This owl will not leave me alone. So
Yeah, I think the point of that all is that
Do you know, like, one of the promotion they made? Like, I
yes,
saw on Twitter, I guess. Like, they started, like,
TikTok maybe.
when they are selling their merchandise, just they say, I hope you do your daily lessons, because if you don't, well, let's just say I know where you live now. they say.
Oh.
That's a joke, because in Duolingo these
Yeah.
very creepy phrases sometimes pop up.
Yes.
Maybe we can put some examples to the show notes. But Binali, first of all, I don't agree with you. That's how we roll. But let me be more specific. Here's the thing. Whenever you are learning a language, I believe there's a certain amount of time and effort investment you need to put it.
Yes.
So you and I, we are. I hope you and I are fluent in English for our
Yes.
audience. I'm hoping on behalf of our audience. And the principal reason for that is, well, first of all, we were in private education
Yes.
up to our high school, and by then we had internet, and internet gave us access to a huge array of native speakers which we were able to interact
Mhm.
using English. So we had ample reason to learn English, is where I'm getting at.
Mhm.
Yes.
However, when you are trying to learn a language that you don't know, like I remember you tried to learn Gaelic at some point, or was it
Yes.
Gaelic? Which one?
Gaelic.
The reason you wanted to learn Gaelic was because you are into Ireland for some reason. Nobody understands why a Mediterranean person would fancy a country that isn't Italy, but like a
Okay.
very bad day for Slovenians. I am really sorry. But you didn't really have a reason to do that.
Mhm.
Like, you weren't trying to survive using that language. You weren't trying to get access to information using that language. You just fancied it.
Yes.
And it is very difficult to learn a language when you don't actually have a use case for it.
Yes. Correct.
In my view, that's one of the things that Duolingo would provide to learn. Like, if you have a book, a Gaelic book, and if you also have the Gaelic thing for Duolingo, I think Duolingo is better because the book doesn't give you points based on how good you can speak Gaelic, which is an incentive. The book is just sitting there, lifeless. Having a Gaelic friend whom would only interact with you through Gaelic would be even better. But obviously we don't have that.
That would be the best. That would be the best.
Like I remember, and I am like because we are talking about the language learning app, all parts of the world isn't safe from me today. I had a friend from Bangladesh through college, and her education was over and she went back to her country. And while going, she said, we should keep in touch, but I will only respond to your emails which are in Bangla.
Okay.
So I didn't mail her. That's like, life is short. Life is too short to learn Bangla. Like, I am sorry. Like, Bangla people are lovely people, or the ones that I met, obviously. Did you know that in the streets they had mango trees? Like, you can just pick a mango and eat. In Bangladesh, they told me. Like, this isn't racist because that's what they told me. I have never been to Bangladesh.
Why would it be racist otherwise?
Yes. Like, but you need reasons to learn a language, and using an app that requires you to learn a language and all these gamification tools. Like, a few episodes ago, we talked about mobile games, and I talked about how they predatorize you into moving gems in places, candies in places to create explosions. I think using those same tactics to learn a language is better.
I just realized something. I already know that, but I think we should mention it here. When we are using Duolingo, we are not learning a new language from our native language.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a total difference.
Oh yeah, we are using English to learn a second language.
Yes. There is no Italian Turkish course. There is Italian English course, and I'm doing that one.
If it was, I mean, even if there are, I wouldn't be using it.
The only languages
Um,
available to Turkish speakers is English, German, and Russian. Actually, it's a nice like many of the countries doesn't have those privilege.
I mean, I am confident that it would be a subpar experience compared to English to other
Probably,
things.
especially in the
Yeah.
amount of. I mean, that's because we are fluent in English, though. Not everyone has that like chance.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so look, first of all, you're correct on like what you need and what you like fancy or want makes a big difference. Because for a lot of people, I think I'm pretty sure I've heard this example in class, but like I know a person who really wants to learn Norwegian because they were gonna go for Erasmus there. Am I cut out?
No, we are hearing you. It's just that it's a preposterous thing to do. Nordic peoples all speak English fluently.
Okay. No, this person was gonna go to Norway for Erasmus, and yeah, they really wanted to learn Norwegian, and they studied for a year, and they were not like fluent at all when they were leaving. But they left, and over the like months they stayed there, they became incredibly fluent because one, contact with native speakers makes a big difference, but also like the yes, you said like those people are fluent in English and they could talk English, but hearing that language around you and not knowing what it says, like not knowing what people around you are speaking, is like a very anxiety inducing experience.
Oh, I agree.
Like that pushes you to learn it, like even if you are not that invested in it, because suddenly you need it. So yes, I agree that needing a language makes the process much faster for you because you're intentionally putting so much more effort, so much more brain process on
Mm-hmm.
it. And while we're on this topic, I'm also gonna say, and I don't know what you guys know about this, or like the myths of like, oh, children learn languages much faster.
Yeah, isn't it true? It's a
No,
myth? It's not real?
it is not true.
It's misleading.
It is misleading yeah, it is misleading because the thing is, because rich people will hire like mm, second language users that like just talk the language around the home, like working class
Mm-hmm.
people, just to children pick up on that language. And like it is not true, it's just that children have the time. Children do not have like classes that begin at 8 a.m., or children do not have 9 to 5 work hour shifts, so
Mm-hmm.
they have the time and
To
mental
learn.
capacity to easily learn, while you don't. You have to think about things, you have to plan for things, and you don't retain as much. That's the difference. There is no actual difference between that. And again, that is the mental process part of it. If you need something, even if it's not consciously, you're going to spend so much more like mental power on it, and you're going to retain so much more. But the part where I don't agree, like necessarily, that Duolingo is an amazing tool for this, or like we're mostly talking about Duolingo because that's where like most of our experiences come from.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the problem with the app, like you said, the book is a lifeless thing, and the app is not. App
Yeah.
has like gamifying features. But here's what I'm gonna say from my limited Duolingo experience, because like I said, I had like a 2 to 3 year break between my two like Duolingo adventures. And I'm gonna say I don't even know what's the state of it now, but when I tried it like during pandemic, I just feel like Duolingo is at this point over gamified, where the gamifying
Yes.
aspects of it take so much more like mental focus than the actual language. And I think
Yes.
at this point gamifying features of it like so forefront of its like uh I, image, I want to say, that people aren't even like showing up to it to learn a language. People are just showing up to it like to like pass each other
Exactly.
in a car, just continue their streak. I mean, that's the reason why they have stuff like because you're firing shots at real countries. I'm gonna fire shots at not existent country, because that's the reason they have stuff like Klingon or like Valerian. People do not actually like these things are no offense to Targaryens, but these things are not valuable skills. People are just
Yeah.
doing this because it's fun to pass your friends in Valerian leaderboards.
Okay, I will counter your argument by pointing out a simple fact. Even though Italy is a real country and Valerie isn't, I am using as much Italian in my real life as Valerian.
But that's
Yeah.
on you, though. Again, this is need or want.
No, but hear me out. It's not obvious, but I haven't done Valerian. I have only used Duolingo for languages that people speak.
You
So you can also infer that I haven't done the Gaelic either.
you're you're a liar because
What?
I know for a fact you have done Esperanto.
But it was for a short while, and people speak Esperanto. It's just not their native language. Like it's a thing that people do. I can't use because I don't remember anything. But I actually only did Esperanto is my shortest. Esperanto and Greek for two reasons. Esperanto because honestly I got bored, and Greek because look, okay, this is completely unrelated, but I want to vent about this.
Yes, please
Oh
go.
no, a Turkish
Greek?
person ranting about Greek.
No.
gonna-
Hear me out. Greek is a beautiful language. I really like Greek language. Listening to it, I really like Greek pop music. What I don't like, and I think Greek people will agree with me on this. I mean, they won't agree with me on this regard, but deep down they will know that I'm right.
Okay.
The way they use their alphabet is nonsensical.
All
And by which what I mean is,
Oi.
no, listen. They have a letter that is V. They have a letter that is beta. And do you know how beta is read? It's also V. Unless some special characters come after it, which converts it to beta. So you know the island, we call it Midilli, Greeks call it Lesbos.
Yes.
The one on the shore from Balıkesir.
Yes.
In the
yes.
northwestern.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, it is written with beta. The
Exactly.
Greek word for island Lesbos contains the letter beta. Like, do you see how stupid that is? Even French people call it lesbians, not lesbians. I love Greek language, but I just couldn't. I just thought, I looked at the alphabet and said, if I hear a word, and I looked at Wikipedia for this, I haven't just used the app. And it also said, these two, like, it isn't like the Arabic S and th. I don't know if the audience is able to hear that, but there are 3 different kinds of S in Arabic.
I think it will pick
written
up on your
language.
recording. It didn't pick up on Discord very much.
Arabic characters, there is
Like
there
se
is S as in
and
spear,
sa.
and then there is F in like abeth thing, something like that. But you can hear it. Like in the Latin script, we don't write these things, but you can hear the difference when you hear a speaker speaking it.
And
But
it's
in
also
Greek,
consistent.
yes, it is consistent. In Greek, it isn't. In Greek, people are just like going crazy using whatever letter they pick, and you can't hear the difference. So I thought I couldn't handle this drama. I am sorry, Greeks. I love to hear your language. I would really want to be able to speak it, but your alphabet is bonkers.
That's kind of how I felt with Chinese. I took 2 courses of Chinese in the university, and I did not survive it. I mean, I passed the classes, but like I did not pursue it. I'm like, thank you. I will take my credits and I will go on my way. Please keep
and that's
please,
it.
please keep your 4 different pronunciation models.
Yeah, like I can understand how such a language would operate, but it makes it very difficult to learn from outside. Like even with English, there's this Duolingo problem that I always face. It is, you know how in English the second person pronoun is also the same, second person singular and plural
Yes.
Yes.
pronouns are
Mhm.
the same. This creates a lot of drama in Duolingo.
There are also many things that happen in Turkish that we don't really think about it. So, like, we are looking from a different perspective, maybe from most of our listeners. But Turkish is very kind of unique language in that sense. That it's not similar to European languages or any other, like Semitic languages or Indo-European, any other Indo-European languages. It's kind of unique in their way.
Oh yes, it is very not Indo-European, very distinctly not Indo-European.
Yes.
As a people whose mother tongue is Turkish, like we have something different understanding about those languages. So it may not make sense to us, but like what I'm gonna say, like a tangent of it, like maybe we have talked about it. Like we are mostly learning other languages from English, but
Yeah.
the way I experienced with Japanese and maybe like it was Japanese. Like Japanese has more common things with Turkish than English. Like they're not in the same family tree, but at least they're like a structure is kind of similar, like
Mhm.
subject verb order
Mhm.
and subject object verb order actually. And whenever I learn Japanese from English, I kind of like I can understand it. It's no problem, but it's kind of hard to change it otherwise around. Like I can't really think in Japanese while I'm learning it from English. I think Duolingo has like it's not very strong in that arm. I was gonna say,
Well, let me
but
give you a hint.
yes,
English is a very
it's
bad
very out
language to
of
learn
topic.
other languages from.
I agree. It's so limited.
An English native speaker is probably not able to understand what I'm talking about. But based on my experiences in trying to learn Italian, Romanian, and Ukrainian using Duolingo, I can confidently assert that all of those languages are easier to understand. All of the grammatical rules are easier to interpret with a Turkish mindset than an English mindset.
Mhm.
Like
Hmm.
What I'm
Even
gonna
maybe
say
also
also,
Italian and English has more common words than Italian and English.
you said Italian and
Did I
English and
say it
Italian
right?
and English twice. Uh,
Okay, Italian and Turkish has more common words.
like many words are similar because we are both Mediterranean countries.
Yeah. Vocabulary at some point.
but the thing I'm gonna say is Duolingo does not really tells the reason behind the all grammatical issues, the language things,
Mhm.
and the logic behind all of the rules, I guess. Like there are many rules that Duolingo teaches actually.
Especially the mobile app.
They don't really show you the reasons, so you don't really like I just want to learn the reason behind all those things so that I can understand it better and I can use that information for the other thing. But they don't, they kind of make you some memorize all those things, and it just makes you answer things in the test more correctly on their test actually. So
Mm.
it's not a
Yeah.
good app for those. But need to defend Duolingo. Am I the nonsense one or
Yes, you
Duolingo
I
are the
is the
mean,
nonsense
nonsense one?
because all the other information also exists in the outside world. Like you don't have to use Duolingo to solve all your problems. You can go and check
mm,
the grammar yourself.
no, like hang
You can
on.
learn the other
I'm
things
gonna
like
hang on.
But again,
That's the second thing I was gonna say. Actually, well, actually,
okay then sorry you aren't
Well,
nonsense anymore.
the way I find Duolingo helpful and useful is that actually that's what I said earlier is it kind of make you similar to a language. Like you don't like you if you don't live in that country, being exposed to that language, being uh, be a foreign in that country and be constantly exposed that a language that you don't know is kind of make you learn the language or force you to learn the language actually. But Duolingo creates that environment at least 5 minutes a day, and at least you kind of get like if you even though you don't learn the language, you might expose the logic of the language or the way you think in that language, or I'm not sure, but every language has a like a logic behind, and while you get exposed, at least like Can Deniz said, like you see like at least you know where the verbs are, where the subject is, what is the sentence, how is this sentence is structured. You get exposed to that structure by reading, by listening, or while you are tapping the words while you are arranging the sentence. Like you are constantly, like not constantly, for 5 minutes a day. So it kind of creates a similarity, and it's a good start from my perspective. And other thing is like I said that Duolingo does not promise you to learn a language completely. If like I just remembered that I was like for maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I started learning German. Like I started continuing learning German in Duolingo app, and look up that how much I can learn by with Duolingo, and it was on the blogs. It wasn't on an official statement, but most of the people said at least you might learn up to B1 in German, and B1 is a nice level for a foreigner, I guess. At least to live in a country, or you can even work with that language.
Um,
I at some point,
um,
but I don't think
nah.
that you can easily get B1 there with Duolingo app. It's not easy
Mm,
to get. Like you need to learn all the things that Duolingo offers you to at least to get B1. I think. I think. And B1 is like yeah, you may just like I getting that opposing signs of you like disapprovals, but like I think you can move that country and start learning the language there with B1 at least.
Elif, would you like to elaborate on that sigh of yours?
I mean, I agree in a sense. The B1 is definitely a solid place where you can navigate yourself. If you get lost, you can ask for directions and you can order things and maybe have a sense of the menu that you're looking at and understand the urgent things. But to live in a country, I don't think it's enough to do a work. Not sure if it's enough. But it's a good starting point. Um, the general problem that I have overall, like, is I want to kind of go back to this overpromise. I agree that you cannot expect everything from Duolingo, but that is how it's been promoted. That's the promise that I was given. That was the solution to my misery. It was the exit that I need to take in this autobahn. Yet
Um,
I
Elif,
I
let
directly
me
crashed into the wall with you know.
okay, let me say something kind of counterintuitive to the whole operation we're in. No app on your phone is gonna solve a problem by itself.
wrong.
Exactly.
Also, and not any course
Maybe
can help as well in that way.
calls and WhatsApps are solving some problems for me, like
Not
communicating.
all
Like,
your
oh, you.
problems, not
Ah,
the
true.
entire like
No, but it's a language. Like, look, language apps creates a problem. You want to learn a language that you wanted to learn. Now you can. That is the sense. I'm not looking for love in language app, which you can still find, that happened to my friend over tandem.
What?
But when you have the actual talking to human element integrated into the app in
Anything
a
is a dating
language,
app if you are brave enough.
it becomes almost like a
That's the
Tinder.
title.
No.
Ne demişler? What our ancestors said, or yeah, whatever. Dil dele yok neydi?
I agree that
Ne-
our ancestors
Dil
said
dile
whatever a
dokun.
lot.
Yeah, that's like I am listening to the ancestors right now. Like this is a shamanistic experience for me.
Dil dile değmeden öğrenilmez kind of thing. A
I will
language
try
cannot
my
be
best.
learned.
dil dile
Without touching the tongue.
Like
I
language
don't
and
think
tongue
that's
is
like
same word in Turkish.
my ancestors weren't tongue touching with anyone. Let me tell you this. Like
in order to learn a language, which is dil, means language in Turkish,
Language.
but our tongue is also dil because we need our tongue to speak. In order to learn a language, said our ancestors, you must touch your tongues to each other.
see, that's a perfect example of what Isel was referring to.
Okay, that's a clip we will share on Instagram. Yes, go on.
That's a perfect example of what Isel was referring to earlier. In Italian, lingua means language and tongue. In Turkish, dil means language and tongue. In English, language and tongue are two different words because English peasants weren't able to understand Latin.
That's very rude to English
But they
peasants.
say mother
did their
tongue as well.
best.
Like they use
Yeah,
mother
the-
tongue.
the new
Uh,
English,
the-
maybe the old English.
The expression
was
mother
better.
tongue isn't like, I guess people do say that, but they say like mother tongue and second language. What kind of that nonsense? English languages.
Yeah, it's not second tongue. But that's the thing,
Yeah.
you need a second tongue.
I mean, you can say
Touch.
it technically, but if you say it, people would think you are being weird because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes in this podcast we translate some of the Turkish expressions to English,
Directly,
knowingly
yeah.
or not knowingly, and they are probably not things that native English people would say.
I think this is a perfect like encapsulation of what a language learning app cannot teach you though, and that's also I'm gonna circle us back a little bit to something Enes said, and he said that Duolingo does not teach you like the rules of the language, which is kind of true. Like you pick up on the rules trying, like oh, this is where the verb goes. Like you get the vibe of it again, but you don't get the rules of it. But also, the thing is, you don't learn a language by going and reading the rules. I mean, can you imagine
Yes.
Yeah.
a non-Turkish speaker going and just grabbing TDK and saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna learn
yeah.
Turkish by this. I'm just gonna read the rules."
By the way, I was gonna say the exact same thing to Elif. I was gonna say you can uninstall Duolingo and install a dictionary app and see how that goes for you.
But
If you want
that's
all the
why.
information in a single place.
That's why, again, the ideal way to learn a language is either through a native speaker or a native teacher, or like doesn't even have to be a native teacher, but a teacher, because a lecturer will give you the tips and tricks to like not get you confused. Like they will, because that's how like we mostly learned. Like because Janin said we received private education, and like I had the chance to have really good English teachers before I even taught to talk to native speakers. And these rules are also things you pick up from native speakers talking to each other.
Like I kind of agree with you in a way, but like I won't say Duolingo is can like we can see Duolingo app is a solution by itself. Like why
I
the reason
agree.
behind you learn a language is to use the language with communicate with other people, with native
Yes.
speakers especially. So if you don't have that
Yes.
kind of interaction with those people, like you can't really learn the language. So the thing you are saying was you learn by with a like if you are taught by a native language speaker or a native speaker, but it's kind of similar to that. So you need to expose to language
I agree.
with like it can be a course that you go and you won't get anything, you don't get any achievement by with the course. Like many people, like with Turkish education system, in Turkish education system there are like uh, English is taught, mostly German is taught as a second foreign language, and no one
Yeah.
knows German at all
Yeah, that's why I was
from high school.
laughing.
Like they teach German
Yeah.
in German in as a second foreign language in high schools in Turkey. Most of the high schools teach that.
Mhm.
Some of my
Ich
friends got
möchte
French.
Okay.
Like I
Schokolade.
learned
Ich
German, and
möchte
some of them
Eh,
Çiğ
learned German. What?
I used to could say I can find empty spots at the bus, but I forgot
It
it.
wasn't
Go
back
on.
then. Like maybe 40 years ago, it wasn't that much. Like French was maybe also taught.
The reason most popular second language in Turkish high schools is German is because there are people who are children of people who emigrated to Germany that
Mhm.
come back
Mhm.
here and find an easy job this way. Like it's an employment scheme, not a
Okay.
like those people are usually not very good at teaching. They are just people who happen to know German.
Yes, my German
But
teacher was
other
like
than
that.
that, what I was gonna say is, you need to use that language in order to learn and or to get better in that language, or at least don't forget it. So if you don't, kinda like the way I kinda get better in English in a way is by through internet. It was through internet. I read articles, I watched films, series, or such. Constantly exposed to culture that's mostly spoken in English. So that's why I don't really forget about English. That's the thing, I
Yeah.
guess. Or I get some friends that I use English with. So that's why that's the way you won't forget a language, or at least
So the solution is just change your computer settings to Chinese. If you
So that's
want
just not gonna work.
Okay.
surround
definitely.
yourself. I mean, yeah,
So Duolingo is not the sole solution for this.
like so I was looking at list of wait. I was looking at language learning apps, and there are hundreds, like really hundreds of apps out there that you can pick from. And I tried at least like two handful. Just a quick like Babel, Coffee Break, some shout outs, and Duolingo, which we mentioned. I always said it Italki, but it's probably Italki. I tried that one. And Memrise, another classic. Rosetta Stone, which was given to me free for a while. I tried a lot. Bluebird, I'm still going. I haven't tried Deer Plus, but I heard it's good. Deutsche Welle, that's also something that people encourage for me
I
to
also
use
use
more
Deutsche Welle.
regularly. Um, Tandem, which we slightly mentioned before, but the list kind of goes on, and it's a big industry. It's a big industry. Learning language, it's there's many at, and I feel like gamification and turning these things into this is kind of creating false solution or hope right before New Year's, and thinking that if I go to the gym this New Year and have a 2 week streak, this whole year itself will be a good gym year. But it's not the case. So I feel like language is in that sense a little bit like that too. But I'm still does not change the fact I'm angry at these apps because I always feel lost in them. I All of them have similar. They are so similar to each other yet slightly different from each other. So every time when I try a new app, there's some familiarity, but there's also some other things that I'm not familiar with. So it's always a new learning curve plus the learning the language curve. Um, I don't like them, and I'm jealous of people who
Okay.
can use them.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Elif, I want to ask you a
Also,
question.
wait. If your New Year's resolution is learning a new language, don't forget to tell us that. Go on.
On the
Yes, I would love to.
comments, right?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Elif,
Yeah.
do you know how in the good century in 1900s, people in Istanbul learned French?
Yes, they did.
No, how? What was the method they used? Obviously, not an app, not a mobile
Yeah.
app.
It could have been an
Yeah.
app.
It was probably the books with the people, French mademoiselle in
Mhm.
the köşk came to my house. And senora.
Okay, that's not correct. I mean, there were teachers who spoke foreign languages and who were from foreign countries. But the method of teaching, obviously, they did not have all those beautiful teaching materials that we have developed over the century to teach French.
Mhm.
So what they did instead was they gave the students a book and a dictionary, and they said, translate this book. And then they would also talk in French language, for example. So the popular method of teaching a language back at the day was you would be given a task that required you to use the language as a tool while trying to solve the task. And I believe this actually makes sense because in my experience of learning languages, both the type of language that people speak and the type of language that people speak with the machines, it has been always obvious to me that you would only learn if you have a project that requires you to learn it. Like if you ever try to learn Python, you will fail. But if you ever try to learn Python in order to do something, you will succeed. And it's similar with language. Like if you are trying to learn Italian in order to communicate to an Italian person, you are more likely to succeed than you are trying to just learn Italian for the fun of it. Like I love having fun. I am not dissing people who are trying to have fun, but it is clear to me that you would be more motivated to learn a language if learning a language is the only way to accomplish a task.
Then I should translate a book.
If all the Indian cooking recipes were in Hindi,
Yeah.
I would be more inclined to learn the language because I wanted to learn the cooking recipes. Or the reason I wanted to learn Ukrainian to begin with was I love Ukrainian folk music. It has been since high school for like 10 years. I have been listening to Ukrainian folk music and I was thinking these song translations are very difficult to find. It was at the time. So if I learn the language, I will be able to understand what they are saying. And that in general is my suggestion to you. Instead of trying to learn a language directly, like I want to be a person who knows the language isn't the way to go. I want to be a person who can maybe like go to Italy and talk to an old lady about bread making. That's the way you would learn Italian. Not by trying to be a person who knows the thing, but by trying to be a person who does something which requires you to know a language. So in that sense, I believe Duolingo throwing tasks at people is better than a book. That's what I was trying to say when I said that earlier in the episode. When you are put in a situation that you need to use a language to get out, you are more inclined to remember what's happening to you. Like you are all skeptical about the usefulness of Duolingo, especially you, Elif. But it is my understanding that, like Enes, I'll work with you on this. You say that you learned Japanese using Duolingo, correct?
Nah, I tried to learn it, but it was like I kind of improved. Like I used Duolingo mostly for German, and I was succeeded by that. Before I was going to Germany, I get like maybe 3 or more than 3 months of streak, I guess, maybe 5.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, and it kind of made me familiar with the language that I went there and get maybe like it also similar to Iza's story. I got started from the upper level
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
there. Like I also took German classes while I was in Erasmus there, and it got me one level further with my studies, and I were more confident with the language.
Familiarized. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and when I were there, I always used English, but like also Duolingo was not successful with that. That I when I first went there, I was not speaking German at all with any people. Only in the German classes I was using. I also were listening some of the classes in German. It was a it kind of made me like it was also nice experience because it's like a studio class that I were and I was presenting my project in English. People were giving me feedback in English, but I were listening their project in German, and I was trying to understand their project constantly with their presentation as well and with their models. Or like it was a fun experience, and like at the end of the semester I was understanding some of the things that they were saying. And also at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the semester, at the end of my stay there, I was kind of had some interaction with a bank and also some offices. I was trying to speak German more, and it was a fun thing that I did, like other than like I was able to explain that I need a bank receipt from some of my payments that I didn't like. I try, kind of explained it to the bank officer that I didn't get it from the web services,
That's
and
so
also it
cool.
wasn't available. Like they were saying me that, oh, you should get it from the web, and I was able to say that, oh, I tried that and I wasn't successful at all. The only receipt I get was able to get was that, and it wasn't useful at all. And
Oh yeah,
it
that's
was
another
like
problem with German. German
bank.
people aren't very expressive using their arms and such. Like if you were in an Italian bank and Italian person was trying to explain to you, your application has some problems, you would understand it immediately because they would have conveyed it using their arms to explain what's happening. Like Northern
But
European languages put so much weight on the language itself to convey the message. We, the happy Mediterranean people, know that the words are just a part of the sentence, not the whole sentence.
but get back on the thing that you were saying. I I didn't use Duolingo to learn Japanese at.
Okay, then what I wanted to say makes no sense.
Like I tried to see how much they were teaching, and I tried to remember what I learned in Japanese via Duolingo, but I stopped using Duolingo completely after some time. So I like
Mhm.
maybe I could have experienced it, but I wasn't.
What I wanted to say, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to find any person who has spent a large amount of time in Duolingo except me, trying to learn a language without any formal education. Like I can say Italian Italian, but she also took classes.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it is my understanding that if you spend like maybe a year or like 6 months learning a particular language in Duolingo, and if I throw you to the country that you are trying to learn, like if NS's case, it was Japan. If I throw NS to Japan, he would be in a better position compared to if I threw NS to South Korea
Mhm.
I mean,
because of the
I
familiarity.
ex-
I mean, yes,
uh,
but
it was me
like,
like in Germany. Yeah, it's not complete. Like I also took classes in high school, but
Yeah, me too.
uh, but other than that, also I used Deutsche Welle's app before going to Germany, so it was also nice thing to have.
I was just gonna say, isn't that a, like, low bar to clear for an app that like markets itself as the way to learn a language? Like, I don't think any of us are saying Duolingo is just utterly useless. This does not contribute to anything. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that if you were to use Duolingo and also, like Enes said, expose yourself to language, like I'm saying, use Duolingo and then also watch a season of House MD, and then your English is gonna be much better. Because
Yeah. I
it's important to pick up on how people use language, because people do not use language like it's on an app or on a textbook. Like, we don't use Turkish like it's on Turkish textbooks.
Can I say this?
Yes.
One day, before Enes was going to Germany, he was doing such great tricks, and I was like doing Italian at the same time. I was taking the courses at that time, and I got like, why am I not getting close to Enes's score? And I did Turkish to English course, and I took the course to skip to the next part of the course. I mean, I don't remember what it's called. And I made
Like-
such a high score. Enes got so. How did she do it?
Enes is very competitive.
This is what I'm saying about over gamifying, though.
Yes.
This is the stage we have arrived at.
But it made no harm for anyone, so it's okay.
I want to say a few things. First of all, about the Duolingo not teaching me grammar thing, it used to. When Duolingo first started as a web application, there was things in the application that also taught you the grammar. That's why my Italian grammar is better than my other guys. But over time, those features were dropped. I don't understand what Duolingo is trying to do for the last
I still
5 years.
know that like when I was last using the app, there was some lesson part on the tests, but no, I wasn't using the lecture parts. I was just skipping to the test, and I was trying and learning through there. But they were teaching, like there was a text behind the test, I guess.
I did Duolingo before coming to podcast today, and I did it on the computer for the first time in years. And I think they brought back the text parts, like you would read and study. That part back on the
Oh,
web
cool.
app.
That's a good thing. Also, I want to say one last thing about Duolingo being the best app to learn a language. It is my understanding that the idea behind Duolingo, the reason why Duolingo exists, is not to teach a person a foreign language categorically, but for a person to learn a language that is spoken in their vicinity. Like in America, the idea was there were a lot of people who wanted to learn Spanish because there were people who spoke Spanish around them. And then it is very popular for immigrants who are trying to learn the native language of the country they emigrated to. Like a few years ago, it was very popular on the internet. The most learned language in Sweden is Swedish in Duolingo.
Sweden, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, like it is also in Duolingo app that like when it's like on loading screens, it is given as a
Yeah.
fact, as I
So
remember.
in this, as in most things, I believe we are not the target for the app. We aren't the people they are marketing or developing the app for.
Okay.
Another fun fact about
No,
Duolingo.
I disagree.
Please, just
with
one
that.
just let me have this one fun. Duolingo has also a certificate for language evaluation that can be taken for English. So if you want, when you're a foreign student in the United States, some universities take Duolingo language certification equivalent to TOEFL or the other.
Oh, that's cool.
That's interesting.
TOEFL is ridiculously expensive, so I'm happy to hear that.
TOEFL is very expensive.
I'm never
TOEFL is
gonna take that.
ridiculously expensive.
And not only is it stupidly expensive, it's also very short. Like the time you need to retake it very quickly.
Yes. It expires very quickly.
Like 2 years, I think, which is like you pay a ridiculous sum of money and then you need to take it again 2 years. Like there isn't even paper involved. The only real charge is electricity for the exam.
Yeah.
It's
But-
like Americans don't want us in their country.
They don't.
Almost.
Anyways, the thing is, we like when it started, maybe we weren't the target audience, so like the marketing was not that way, but it is now. Like it is like unarguably is now to like marketing tactic of Duolingo to like go to any person and just say casually learn a language, not because you need it. Again, if this was again the same case, we would not have like Esperanto, Valerian, Klingon on there. Like clearly this is not the marketing tactic, and like this is not the image of Duolingo right now.
I mean, look, Duolingo didn't pay us for this episode. Maybe we
Clearly.
should have said this earlier.
I don't think we have to disclose that at this point.
But I think
This episode brought to you by
Cambly.
This episode brought to you by number one Duolingo competitor.
I think no app can teach you a language. I think
I agree.
By itself.
I think no
Yeah.
no app and no book and even no lesson can teach you a language. Only you can
can learn it.
Only you can.
Find the reason to learn a language, and upon finding a reason, you will find that rest comes quickly.
It
Yeah.
turns out to be
But-
like a
I mean, you have to.
psychiatrist
Go on,
app advertisement. You should learn it by yourself. No app can do this.
No. I think
I'm not saying I say what I say is apps help or books help, but they are
Yeah.
the motivator.
the
Yeah.
better cut would be no app can teach you a language, but we can.
So
In
the-
conclusion, language courses starting
Or
next week.
the other conclusion I was thinking was homeworks was actually a good motivation to learn it.
Yeah, it was. The reason why I can count in German and not in Italian is because of the German homeworks in high school.
I still can.
Like many people in Turkey can say they are 15 years old in German.
Also, I want to say if you are trying to learn a language in order to survive in a non-native environment, the way to go is you should learn popular verbs and popular conjunctions so that you can explain what you are trying to say to a person or
Yes.
to a native
Yeah.
speaker. Like nouns and especially adverbs are a waste of time. Like don't waste your time on stupid like clearly importantly. No, they aren't. They are trash. What you need to learn is
Indubitably.
come, go, eat, drink, pee. If you know these words, and if you know several conjunctions, you'll be fine. You'll be able to convey your and also arm movements.
Here are some for Turkish.
Beve. Manja. Sorry, I was doing Italian.
Okay, so here are some good filler words for you to know if you want to sound fluent in Turkish. Abi, yani, aynen.
Aynen is very
Okay.
important. You
Aynen
can
is
use
really
aynen to
important.
get out of every situation.
there was that Instagram Reels video that the person only uses 3 words.
Yes, this I know about this. It's so funny.
So the thing I was gonna say is that the verbs you should learn in English is follow, subscribe, or just listen us on social media. And now we are on YouTube and TikTok as well. We are trying to post our little clips there. So if you're interested, make comments on that, like how much you like, and just follow us.
Or how much you hate. That's also a comment.
If you also agree the best country is Italy, feel free to add Italy.
Yes, if you agree with Izal on that note, you should.
I did not say that. Go.